Hello to our abundance rock stars. So today I'm going to just do a quick onboarding video for an introduction to Dotloop. So whether you've used Dotloop in the past or not, this video is going to be really helpful because we may structure ours a little bit differently than what you're used to. I will tell you that the way we've structured it has been really centered around one thing, and that's efficiency. So we try to make things as simple and efficient here at Abundance as possible. So let's get in. I'm going to show you how to make a new loop and what you can find within each of your loops. So off we go. We are going to go to Dotloop. So once you log in, you're going to be able to see all the loops that you have created. So you can do this by making sure that you're in your default profile, which is going to be your personal profile. Let's go to create a loop. And let's say we have a new listing coming up and we are getting ready, prepping for a listing appointment with our seller. So let's say it's 123 Main Street. One recommendation I have is do not take the recommendation here, because what it sometimes does is connects your loop with somebody else's loop if they happen to have the same address. This especially happens when you are representing a buyer, because very likely the listing agent has a loop with the exact same name, even if they're at a different firm. Dotloop is internal.
Hello, interruption from Brooke. Morgan had some technical difficulties right in this moment of the video. So what she was saying, if you use the drop down when selecting or naming your loop, that means that your other agent or another agent at some point had already used that loop name. And when you click on the drop down, it's going to link your loops together. So as Dotloop is an internal documentation system, you're not going to want to do that with the drop down, because then everything that you have in your loop will then become privy to the other agent utilizing that loop name or that loop. Again, if you share your loop directly with another agent, the same thing will happen. If they are using Dotloop, then they will be able to see documents in your loop whether they're supposed to or not. So do it when you're submitting offers or other paperwork to other agents. Just make sure you're doing it the proper way of downloading it, sharing it via email, or if you're having to sign something, sharing just that one document that's being signed as opposed to sharing the actual loop. Any questions on that, let Morgan or myself know, and we're happy to help.
Field, Wisconsin 53005. That's where it is. Drop down, hit continue. Always select loop template. So we are choosing listing loop, residential, and continue. You don't need to upload a photo if you don't want to. So within this loop is everything that you need to get started. And I have a different video on how to make your own personal templates so that the same thing comes into your loop every time. Again, that's a video available to you if you'd like to look at it. It's a video all about templates. Today, we're just talking about what you need, how to navigate your loop. So select loop status. This is a pre-listing. So we have here listing presentation documents. This is where I actually have a template. I'll quick show you just so you can see. Add from templates. I have my own personal listing docs that I like to put in here. So right away, I like to put these in here because this is a part of my listing presentation. For example, I always want to give them photo prep, how to get ready for a photo shoot that they're going to have before the listing. Okay. And I have a few other things that I like to put in here. Happy to share examples of these if you want them, but I like my listing presentation to be in the loop as well. So everything is in one place. Sometimes too, you have a listing appointment and then you're not actually listing the house for a few months. And this way I know exactly what price I presented them with and what the market looked like at that time. So I'll also upload my comps in here, my listing presentation, my price recommendation, things that are more custom to that address. RPR report, MLS, CMA, all that kind of stuff. Again, if you need a checklist of what I put in a listing packet, we can get you that too. So the documents that you need are all in here. And the required documents are labeled as such, meaning you cannot submit it for review from the broker until these documents have documents in them. The listing contract is here. The abundance notice to buyers and sellers is in here as well. Seller information sheet is here. So I'm going to open up the seller info sheet here. It's got all information about the property, the information about the sale, all the seller information, their social security number information that we need in order to sell the house. Is it in a trust? Is there a power of attorney? We need all that information. Okay, what's their new address? Where are they moving to? Maybe they don't know that yet. That's okay. All information here about their mortgage. Maybe they have a home equity line of credit or a HELOC. We get their signature right away. And then my favorite part about this is all about your home. How old are the mechanicals? What's included, right? This way you never need to wonder or forget to ask these questions. I like to share this right with the client here so they can fill it out online. The key to that is make sure you have it set to can fill and sign when you share it with them. All information about, is there a septic? Is there a well? What's included? I like to ask, what do you love about your neighborhood, right? They kind of then write a description for you by talking about all their favorite things in the neighborhood, all the updates they've done to their home. That's why it's all in one document. I love this document. I find it really helpful. FERPTA, this is something that you use when you order title. Again, not required, but very helpful to have for title and reduces liability. Real estate condition report, this is required. And addendum S, only if the home was built before 1978, your lead paint disclosure. So all of these documents are fillable online and can be signed online. Otherwise, what I like to do is fill them out, especially the address portion, and then click into them all and print them and physically take them to my listing appointment, because normally we're actually with the seller and they can sign them in person. Then we also have a spot for all of your offer documents once you get them. So the reason these are grayed out is because there's nothing inside of them right now. Once you have a PDF, you can upload that PDF into the system by hitting Add Document, Browse, and grab a random document. And then you drop and drag it into that offer to purchase. Now, when you click into it, you actually have a PDF. This is the one thing in Dotloop that can never be undone. If you drop a document and put it into a placeholder and then drop a different document over it, it replaces the old one. So make sure you're careful with that. You've got the offer to purchase, addendum S, once it's signed by the buyer. Addendum A, the condition report, which needs to be signed by the buyer. A pre-approval or a proof of funds, which you're probably going to collect. Earnest money instructions are already in here as well. This way you or your transaction coordinator can send these out, because we as a firm hold earnest money. So most likely if you have a listing, we're going to be holding earnest money. And these are the instructions you can send to the buyer agent once you have an accepted offer on what to do with the buyer's earnest money. Again, all about efficiency. The last thing I want to show you is the commission disbursement form. This has to be submitted with your loop at the time of submitting it. You submit accepted offers 2 weeks before closing. Common question, hey, I have things that aren't ready yet. I have some amendments. That's fine. You can resubmit at any time, and it only resubmits the new documents. If they've been reviewed already, they don't get submitted again. So please just keep hitting submit. Give us those 2 weeks to review your files. It's a lot easier to get signatures and corrections from a client before closing than after closing. This is to help you and reduce liability and protect you and your business. Commission disbursement form, this is important because this tells us who's being paid what. Is there an external referral? Are we sending money to another firm out of state because you got an out of state referral? Are you sending, are you having a certain percentage go to you and a certain percentage go to a team member? We will do whatever with your commission that you would like, but you need to tell us, right? So this is where you fill out all of that information. What's the purchase price? What's the gross commission? Now, when I say gross commission, if you take a 6% listing, the gross commission is the portion we are bringing in as a firm, basically what the check's going to be at closing. So it's typically going to be the firm's percentage, which is 2.6, 3.6, our portion of the commission. Then, where are we sending any referrals? Is it part of kickoff coaching? We need to know that because there's a percentage for that. Who's getting the gross commission? And then is anyone else getting a part of that commission? Then every closing has a closing fee. Which agent is paying that? If you have a team, maybe the team leader pays it, maybe the agents pay it. Doesn't matter to us. We just need to know who's paying it. This is very important, and we cannot process your commission if we don't have this filled out, because we need to make sure that we are paying you correctly. So please make sure to fill this out before you submit your file. With that, when you submit your accepted offer documents, all you do is hit submit for review and choose which folder you're submitting. Your listing needs to be submitted prior to listing, right? So your listing term begin date on the listing contract, let's say it's June 5th. Submit it anytime before June 5th. As soon as you get signatures and you're ready, please submit that file. So you do that by just hitting submit for review. You put in the information. 123 Main Street, Brookfield. Just want to show you here. So you're going to hit the listing contracts documents, right? You don't need to submit your listing presentation. And when you have a new listing, you don't have an accepted offer yet. All you do is hit submit. That gets it to us so we can approve it prior to you putting it in MLS. Once you have an accepted offer, you're going to change this to active, or once you have an active listing, it's in MLS, you're going to change it to active listing. And once you have an accepted offer, you change it to under contract, put in the purchase price, and then put in the closing date. We need to know this so we can make sure to always review the files closing the soonest right away. So that is a quick overview of Dotloop. If I'm reviewing your files or someone's reviewing your files and see something needs to be corrected, you're going to get an email message, but you can also manage all the messages right here in this little message box. That's actually what I use to send you messages to say something like, hey, you need to sign your listing contract, or hey, your listing contract went live yesterday and it's not in MLS yet. So things like that. That's how I'm going to communicate with you, but it does come over via email as well. So that was your introduction to Dotloop. Let us know if you have any questions.